Amy, thank you so much for being here on Spark TV. It is such an honor to have you.
Thanks for having me, Danielle. I'm so excited to share my story. I know.
Got the wine, brought the obligatory wine. I love it so much. I'm so excited to share your story with everybody. And let's dive straight into that. So Paddington Jams, talk to me. How did you come up with this? Have you always been in business? Was there a career beforehand? How did you get here?
Well, I started a new full-time job that I thought was my dream job, and it was a BDM for a luxury retreat. Ooh, cool. And I was so excited, and it was I've been a stay-at-home mum for 7 years and done the part-time thing, and finally said goodbye to part-time and was ready for full-time work. And I did that job for 9 days, and COVID. So COVID stepped in, and I was absolutely gutted, like so heartbroken, because I guess like when you do the mum thing for 7 years, you feel like you put your life on hold for everybody else, and that's okay, because obviously that's the choice that I made. But at that point in time, that was my turn, my turn to do my thing. And so I was really, really upset. And I thought, as most of us did, this would all just blow over in a month or two. So I thought I'd get my job back.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of weeks where I was just busy feeling really sorry for myself, I thought, you know what, I think maybe I need to get a hobby and teach myself something new when we were all in lockdown and we all started these new hobbies. And I've always been really passionate and creative in the kitchen, but I'd never made jam before in my life. So I thought, I'm just going to give it a go. And I don't know where jam came from. I don't know why.
Everyone was doing sourdough. So you really zagged when everyone was zigging.
I know, right? I don't know why I thought of jam. So then the first one I made was a raspberry jam. And it was good, but I was like, it's good, but it's just like all the other raspberry jams. I can do something a bit different and something a bit more fun and make it a little bit more contemporary. Because I think a lot of people, when they think jams, they think of their grandma. And, and it's got that old-fashioned sort of appeal to it. And I thought, actually, I can make it a bit fun and fresh and make it a little bit more of our generation. So then I did another batch I added some wattle seed ground into it, and it was wattle seed and raspberry jam.
Wow.
And that was delicious. And it's got, like, wattle seed has a really yummy coffee / chocolatey flavor to it. And it just made it a really interesting taste. And then
this is making me hungry. This is
sorry.
This is not a good time slot to be talking about food. This sounds so delicious.
Yeah. So it just I just started going a bit nuts after that, and I just went full hog and just started cooking lots. And then from there I just was I don't know, I was just doing a hobby business thing. I never set out to do what I'm doing now. But it was what got me through lockdown. And then I'm in Brisbane. So the Brisbane City Council waived the fee for food license applications at that time. So I thought, well, if I get a food license, I could just, sell it. So I may as well, and it's free. So then I did that. And my background is sales and marketing. So doing the website was easy. And then starting to reaching out to my friends, and I did a survey monkey with my friends, just asking them really basic questions like, what reason would you buy this as a gift for somebody? Or what appeal, what type, what name of sauce or jam would appeal to you most? And, and then just like price points, and just, I was doing market research, but really it was just because I was interested. It wasn't because I was thinking I was going to turn it into something.
A jam empire. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. And it just evolved from there. So then I really, I properly did it for Father's Day. So that's September 2020, and I launched it, and a week before Father's Day I was sold out.
Wow.
So that's when I was like, there's something here.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. And then September's just a few months before Christmas, so then Christmas came around. Christmas was nuts. And from that point, that's when I was like, actually, I don't want my other job back anymore.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad you can get that job back.
Wow, yes.
My thing. This is what I'm so passionate about. And I don't think I could ever go back to working for anybody else ever again, because this is my labor of love. I've done so much for this business now, 2 years on. And everything. Like I designed the labels myself. I made all the recipes myself. Every tiny little thing I have done.
Yeah.
And or champions getting done with with employees and things. And it's just it feels amazing. And it's it's such a good moment in my life. And I guess the best way I can put it is I finally have figured out what I want to be when I grow up.
Oh my God, I love this. Yes. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And how amazing that it was born of a low point, kind of going, oh my God, that was my dream job. We're going through this pandemic. Like, what is to become of me? And you have just found your calling. And having the most amazing time and amazing experiences. It's incredible.
Yeah. And the wonderful thing is, having done this, and I guess I love the networking and I love getting in contact with all other small businesses. And it's something I'm really passionate about, being an advocate for particularly women in small business. But I have met so many other people with a really similar story. So whether it's, cookies or actually there's a woman who does G-rated crackers, and she is my next door, 2 doors up neighbor.
Oh my God.
And she is just gone gang. So they've always had their crackers and she's done it for their whole family. And now that's her new thing. So
oh my God.
There's so many wonderful stories from COVID. And it's really nice to see that, there's been a positive swing put in impression, I guess, that it's made in some people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was, it kind of gave people permission to actually try things, I think. I think we all were very, not stuck in our ways, but kind of, we're all rocking up to our jobs, doing our thing. And it was kind of like this opportunity for, a lot of people when they might have been, sitting on an idea or, thinking that something was too risky. It was kind of like no holds barred. There was everyone just went, what have I got to lose?
Exactly. That's right. And I guess it was a bit of a reset for a lot of people too, because they were just at home and they had so much time to really be together and to really think about, what am I doing and what am I passionate about and what do I want to do?
Yeah, I love that. So how has the business evolved? So obviously it's been a couple of years now and you've gone from that first batch of raspberry jam, to where you are today. How have things evolved? I imagine you have had to learn a lot in the last 2 years.
So much. A lot. And a lot about, I guess one of the biggest things is just getting supply. Obviously, with all the issues that we've had with,
of course,
not just ingredients, but then jars. Glass jars have been so hard because really we could only get them from China.
Wow.
And just the shipment issues that, Christmas last year, I ran out of jars.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, the rookie error, right? But
yeah. But you only know that by it happening, right? You only know it when it happens. You're like, I won't do that again. Yeah.
That's right. So there's a lot of learnings, a lot of things that now I need to prepare myself for. Knowing that I ran out of jars last year, I put it at the start of this year, I got a giant whiteboard and I mapped out the whole calendar and I wrote September, make sure you're stockpiled for Christmas. So that's where I'm at right now. And I've just gone and bought a whole pallet load of jars. And so the really frightening thing from a business perspective, and so many small businesses have the same issue, it's just cash flow. It's always that struggle of cash flow and going, okay, well, right now I am just pouring thousands of dollars. And this is me, flying my own little flag, pouring all of this money into jars, labels, ingredients, everything. And I'm not going to see most of that until December.
Wow.
And so, but I know that's what needs to happen because I've done it before. Whereas last year I was just flying by the seat of my pants, really.
Yeah. But I mean, it is interesting though, because, you're not alone. Any person in a product-based business like goes through that, right? Like kind of going, how much stock am I actually going to sell? So how much should I actually invest? And that's like a huge, I guess, risk, right? Of kind of going, how much do I invest here? What happens if I don't sell it? I guess the good thing about jam is I imagine it has an okay shelf life.
Yes. That's right. So at least it's not a fresh product that it only lasts for a month or something. But I think as small business owners, we have to be okay talking about the struggle with cash flow.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I'm not ashamed to admit that cash flow is hard. And it
Totally.
is hard. But my business is still doing really well and successful. But it's one of the many challenges that come with it. And, I went to the bank and I said, I've got this business, I've got these sales, I can prove X, Y, Z. This is what I've got. They said to me, oh, we can give you a loan for a few $1,000s up front, but because you're a business, you haven't registered for GST and you haven't had this. And I thought, how people have this amazing dream of starting this big small business and not get a loan from the bank? And it's just so stressful.
Especially when you've got it, when you are already successful and can show results. Yeah.
I know. It's so hard.
So frustrating. I know it's really interesting too, because so there's different products that I've seen, that have really come up in the last year or two that are starting to, I think, take the share away from banks. There's these digital banks and there's, foreign currency solutions. There's people that will lend you money to invest in ads and they'll recoup from that, from your sales. And I'm like, I just don't understand why the banks don't support small business. Every bank on the planet has "we support small business" on their homepages.
Yeah,
but it's
so
not
prove it.
reality. It's not reality,
And it's because we're too much of a risk.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really hard to hear, and it's really hard to know that that's the reality. But there's so many small businesses that just they don't thrive and they don't succeed, and that's really sad. It's really hard to even fathom the thought of me pouring 2 years of my life into this and then having to one day go, you know what, actually it's not working anymore. That my heart goes out to all those people who've been in that awful situation, because I can't imagine how hard it must be.
Oh, totally. And I mean, the thing is like you hear every small business owner talk about cash flow, no matter what industry they seem to be in, whether it's a slow month, so they're struggling with payroll, or having to invest in those supplies to get a product to market. It's there's so many things. I think you're spot on that we don't talk about it enough. So these small business owners have this problem and go, oh my god, obviously I've stuffed it up, or obviously I'm failing because I'm having this problem. But I think it happens to everybody.
I think you're right. And I think one of our biggest barriers in being a small business, in small business, is fear of failure, and being sort of like holding ourselves accountable for the exact dollar that's in our bank account, which isn't in the bigger picture of things. We need to also look at what the value of our business is.
Yeah. I love that. And I also love your comment about planning out the year. I think that people get really scared about money and scared about cash flow and scared of making a mistake, that they don't look at it. They actually go, it's too stressful, I don't want to look at that problem, versus going, okay, you know what, this is going to be a problem. So let's actually map it out and and do the best we can to forecast and estimate and flag those important times or those stressful times on the calendar so that we can be as prepared as possible. I love that you went and did that.
And there's still learnings from doing that this year. There were still things that I really stuffed up on. And I know that for next year, I know I need a better plan for next year, because I really could have done it better. But sometimes you're just flying by the seat of your pants because you're just fighting one fire to the next fire. Yeah. And you've just got to roll with the punches and just yeah,
And
do your
you're
best.
wearing every hat, right? Like
Yeah.
business owners are wearing so many hats. Like we can't be expected to, or to expect of ourselves that we'll get things perfect, you know? Like I think we're probably our worst enemy sometimes, or our harshest critic sometimes, I think.
Yes, we definitely are. I
So do
agree with you
you,
there.
yeah. So do you sell just through your web store, or do you wholesale? Do you sell into retailers? What's your business model look like?
Yeah, so I am in stores.
Cool.
I'm stocked, yeah, and my models with that has been more so, particularly at the start. I didn't want to just walk into all of those lovely delis and all of the ones that have, 15 different jam products on their shelves. And then you pretty much like it all comes down to what your label looks like, whether or not someone's
Mm,
going to pick it up and buy it.
mm,
So my strategy has been more so with cafes. So
that's a great idea.
yeah, well, I do a 1 liter large not for resale tub that then the agreement is they can use that in their dishes, but
Mm.
then they have to make reference to Paddington jams and sauces on the menu. And then
Oh, cool.
they have my products on the retail shelf. So
Mm.
that for them, and my background, I used to be a sales rep. So I love going into these stores and saying, well, actually, you can get $5 from somebody who's coming in there to buying a coffee, but you can also make a similar amount of profit from selling my jars on your shelf.
Mm.
And then getting that concept in their heads where they go, yeah, and some of them, I've got, a handful of cafes where they have taken that on board and they just turn through my products so far
Wow.
and they can't get enough of it because they can really see the value on that add-on sale.
Mm.
So yeah, I've sort of gone more with that strategy. It's now that I'm starting to go into the larger stores. So Biome Eco stores, they've
Oh,
been stocking
cool.
my products for the last year
I
now.
love them. Yep.
Lovely. And yeah, so I've got a few more stores now too, but I'm in about 20 retail stores across the 3 states over the
Mm.
eastern seaboard,
Mm.
eastern side of Australia, sorry. My next approach is so my goal is I want to get into either one of the major hotels or airlines. Because when you
Oh,
go to
cool.
check into a
Yeah.
hotel and in the morning you have those little pots with your croissants
Yes.
of jam. So I want to get into one of those. Um,
Yes. Oh
and I'm
my
really,
God. I
yeah,
just like makes so much sense for like the boutique hotels, right? Who like I really try and do things different, like your QTs and all
yeah,
those, like how they are always trying to set themselves apart. And you just think about the same old jams that you get. Like
yeah,
that
that's
would be
right.
such a cool approach. I love that.
Yeah. And there's I've had a few conversations with some hotels, which is really exciting. So I think in the next few months, I think there'll be some really exciting advancements, which yeah,
Cool.
I'm not gonna, count my chickens before
No,
they hatch
that's
or
right.
jinx
That's
it or
right.
anything.
I'm just sending you all the good
Yeah,
vibes.
that's
Yeah.
right. And so the other one, the factor is a lot of them are putting in sustainability policies where they don't,
Mm.
probably what they would do is just get a giant tub of just mainstream jam, put them into a little plastic dish and then serve it with, if they're doing in-room
Oh,
dining or if they're doing
yes.
any picnic boxes and things. So
Mm.
a lot of the major hotel chains are starting to do where they're not allowed to use any of the plastic, obviously, so they need to go
Mm.
into the jars. So that's sort of a really good way for me to get my foot in the door there.
That's so cool. You can tell you're a salesperson.
No.
I love that. Oh, no, it's so
Yeah.
good. I mean, it's so important, right? I mean, at Spark, we're all sales, right? I've been a salesperson for 20 years, so I kind of froth over, oh, what about this idea? What about this
I
idea?
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so passionate about that. And I'm
Mm,
always thinking about ways to be one step ahead.
mm,
And so one of the things that I found with a lot of the ingredients and all the prices that increased, and like my jars since I started have increased by 40% or something,
oh
the
my
cost of the
God.
jars alone.
Wow.
But one of the things I thought was I don't want to just go, okay, well, I'll just increase my prices because
Mm,
then that just creates a trickle feed effect and that ends up, on the mum and dad consumer who may or may not buy my jams because it's an additional dollar more per jar. So rather than doing that, I've tried to sort of think of other ways to combat that and to come up with different products. So I've just in the process of launching what I'm calling my platter series. So
cool.
sort of like in this lovely little ramekin jar that's a little bit it's the size of a ramekin with really nice lid. But the idea is you can just crack the lid and put it straight onto your platter. So then if you're in a shop and you're buying the cheeses and the crackers, but you're going over to a friend's house, you can pretty much just have it all there, and so it's all ready to go, or for a picnic or anything, like that. So just to try and develop.
That's so smart. Yeah.
So trying to develop another product. Obviously the price point is a little bit higher because of the convenience of it. And that's a great way for me to try and combat not increasing my prices on my mainstream ones that I have, my OGs, but then to develop a new product that means that there's an alternative there, and hopefully tap into a whole new market.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think that's so smart just to have an alternative approach, because I think you're right. Like every business, I'm getting emails, oh, I'm so sorry, but we've got to increase our price based on global blah 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 blah. Like everyone's doing it right now, right? Like it's almost like you expect every product to have a price rise. And and I think you're right, like at the end of the day, consumers are going to have to draw a line somewhere and give something up, right? It's not like everyone's getting wage increases that match the cost of living increases, unfortunately.
That's right.
So I just love the idea of thinking outside the square.
Yeah. And I think we need to, because if we just go, oh, well, everybody else is increasing their prices, I'll just do the same. I just worry that firstly, people are going to say, well, I don't need to buy the premium jam. Why don't I just buy the basic stuff? Because I can't really afford the premium stuff because their prices keep on going up. I want this to be something that everybody can enjoy and it can be celebrated, and it's fun, like some of my jam is, one of my favorites is the rose gin jam. It is so popular with the soccer mums, me being one of them. But and it's just, it's fun and it's a bit different, and it's got the little rose petals in it, and like I want people to be able to enjoy that and not feel guilty about buying it because I had to raise my prices, and then they're thinking, oh, I'm going to take the price tag off so the husband doesn't see how much I spent on it or something,
Yeah. Oh my God, that is so platter worthy. Can you imagine rocking up with a cheese platter and your jam has rose petals in it? That's so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's a hot favorite, that one.
That's so cool.
So one of the other things I've done this year is entered into some competitions.
Ah, cool. Tell me.
So the preserve, it's a whole new thing. Never done this before since this year. There's a local show, which I thought I'd start there and just see how it goes. There's a local show called the Brookfield Show, and I entered pretty much all of my things thinking I have no idea what they're going to like and what they'll want me to do. So I entered them and ended up getting champion champion of show. So like the champion hook, that's what it's called. Sorry. And I was like, wow, okay, like I'll keep going with this. I'll keep doing it. So then I entered the Royal Queensland Show, the ECA here, and it's all very serious. And there's lots of protocol behind how you enter your jams and how much you fill them and how you present them, how you label them. So there was a lot of T's and C's to read to make sure, like CWA, they've been doing this for so many years. They want to make sure everyone gets it right and it's fair for everyone. And so I entered my the ones that won gold from the Brookfield show. I entered them, and I entered my chocolate fudge sauce, which is like totally decadent, really just got Kahlua in it, and it's just like, oh my God, just like chocolate, death by chocolate richness in your mouth with every mouthful. And I took home the champion of show for that one jar of chocolate fudge sauce. So now, like the main reason for me doing that is I can put my fancy little gold medallions on these.
Exactly.
Marketing, like absolutely gold dust putting that stuff on my jars. And And it's done so well with PR for me to be able to get that name out there. So I guess just thinking about what can I do to really help bring awareness to my product and to my brand and to really shine a positive light on it.
Yeah.
And doing this, like now, and I guess it's more of a local thing because I'm in Brisbane, but people say, wow, you won the Ekka, you know, like,
yeah. Oh my God, it's a very big deal. Yeah, I'm from Brisbane. I'm like, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So yeah, good, fun. But now I'm just busy putting medallions on all of my jars. You know, when you go to buy wine and you walk in there and they've got like 3 medallions on a jar.
That's how you buy wine, right?
Yeah, exactly. Who reads the labels?
Exactly. I mean, that's so clever, right? I bet you 3 years ago, you weren't going, I'm going to enter the Ekka in a Jam Reserves Award, right?
No way. And there's no way I ever would have thought that I was going to get a champion sash. Like this rosette is like this big.
Oh my God.
It's beautiful. And I was standing there having a photo taken with it behind me, and my husband was taking a photo for me. And this old gentleman came up to me and he said, is that yours? And I yeah. And he said, I'm a bit ticked off with you.
Oh no.
Straight away who he was because I saw his name pop up, and he was, poor guy, was genuinely, like, he was trying to do it in jest, but he was genuinely really put out that I took his rosette. And I thought, wow, this is a real serious thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting thing. Like, there would be people who like are serial like jam enterers into these awards, right? And you've come in and gone, you know what, I'm ready to do something different, and you think about things differently and you've taken it out. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I don't know, I think it's probably the best thing I've ever worn in my life, which is really sad.
I'm like, if anyone gave me a sash and a little rosette, I'd be like, I'd be wearing it around, right?
I know I was tempted.
Pin that on your shirt.
Well, I was never very great at sports at school, so this is probably as good as it gets for me.
That is so cool. And I just love as well, like, you know, any business, like thinking about how people listening to this episode can apply it to their businesses. I just love the theme of thinking outside the square. So going, okay, what market am I in? What product or service do I sell? And what's out there? You know, what's in the industry? What competitions? What events? Like, what is out there that you can kind of put yourself forward and like have a go? Yeah,
that's right. I was really scared at the start, particularly, you know, that very first one, the Brookfield show. And I remember saying to my husband right before I was driving there to find out what I did, I was like, what if I don't win anything? What if I'm driving home and I don't even have one tiny little ribbon? Like, do I put that on social media? Because what does that do for my credibility? Like, all of these things are running in my head with self-doubt. And I thought, well, I just need to just suck it up and get out there and back myself, because I know my product's good. I believe in my product. And if I can't be, you know, vulnerable and put myself out there to let it be judged, it's being judged every day by people who are trying it. And I've never had one being returned. So that's a good sign.
That's a great sign. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah. And can we buy these online? Like, I'm sitting here, you know, salivating over all these flavors. Can we buy these online?
Yeah. So you're funny with your wine that you've got there, because what I actually do on Instagram is I do reels of different ways that you can use my products in a recipe.
Cool.
Because a lot of people, one of the most common things people would say to me is, oh, what rose gin jam? Like, what do I have that with? You know? So I started doing the recipe reels. And on Fridays, we do cocktail Fridays.
Oh, cool.
Where I use jams in my cocktails. So, but in answer to your question, yes, I have my website all set up. So just paddingtonjams.com. And I ship anywhere to around Australia. Cool. Yeah. And then just on my Instagram, I've always got all of the different recipe reels on there just to try and get people excited and you know, motivated to try something new and to do something a little bit different. So
I love that. And I guess, like, you know, that's just an interesting thing in and of itself as well, like inspiring people about your product. So, you know, exactly like you said, I love when you said, okay, get the cafe to use it in a dish and then upsell the product. But I was thinking in my mind, you know, so many times I buy jam for the one time a year that I make scones.
Yeah.
And then I use a little bit of it and then it just sits in the fridge for the rest of the year. And the next time I go, I should buy a new jar.
Yeah.
But so I actually love that you're like, you know, this is a product that you're right. Like maybe people connect with the grandma or the scones, but there are so many amazing ways that you can use it. And I mean, I'm just blown away that there's rose and gin flavor. I'm like, I think I've been doing jam wrong my whole life.
Sign me up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't think there's that many other businesses out there who are doing such a contemporary style of jam, which I guess is one of my major point of differences, just that it is a little bit unique and it is a bit more fun. But I'm just trying to do it so that, particularly with the reels that I'm making or the recipes, it's not something where you've got to be in the kitchen for 45 minutes making something and putting something together. And, you know, it's something quick and fun and easy. Like we all live busy lives, but we still want to just enjoy the little pleasures along the way. So,
yes.
Yeah.
That's
hopefully
so
that
good.
does that.
Absolutely. I love it. So just to wrap, last piece of advice. So a lot of people who are watching or listening, depending on what platform they're on, have just kind of started their business. So they're right in that early phase where they're solopreneurs and, you know, they're wearing all of the hats. They're totally overwhelmed. They're questioning a little bit why they did it. Any advice for people who are just getting started, for getting through the hump and starting to see that success like you have with your world jam domination?
Yeah. I like to call myself the jamstress.
The jamstress. Oh my God, I love that. That's so good.
Or the champion. I don't know.
The champion. Cool.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is I think you need to figure out who your number one person is. So who is that person when you walk out of, say, a really big business deal or something, and you walk out of there and you finally get them giving you the nod because they want to go ahead with something. When you pick up your phone and you look at your phone and you go to call somebody, who is that person that you call? Because that person that you call, that person has your back because they are the first person you want to share that information with. So they're the person who will always champion you, who will always give you that real pick up the arse when you need it to say, get out of this headspace you're in right now. What you're doing is great. You need to keep on track. Keep doing what you're doing and you will be good. You will succeed. I think that one person is so integral because we have so much self-doubt. There's so many times where we just spiral into this world of this isn't good enough. I'm not good enough. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why, you know, and we just need that one person to pull us in line and to tell us what we need to hear at that time. And I just think that every single person needs to call that person and say, you are my number one person.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need you to tell me the God honest truth when I need to hear it. And it's going to make the world a difference. And it will really help you. It has helped me. Mine is my husband, as a lot of people will be their spouse. And he is great at just, you know, like sometimes I get shitty with him because he's not telling me what I want to hear.
Yeah, they're telling you the truth and it's not good. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's what I need to hear.
Totally.
And, yeah. So if you can find that one person who can just be your voice of reasoning and to really support you, I think, they're the backbone to helping you succeed, particularly if you're doing this by yourself.
I love it. I love it so much. Amy, you are absolutely incredible. Cheers to you.
Oh, thank you, Danielle.
Thank you for coming on Spark TV and sharing your story and your insights and your wisdom. I know that everyone tuning in will have gotten a lot of value out of that. I even scribbled something down myself that I was like, oh my God, that's just given me a great idea. So you're amazing. I appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, I love it so much. You're the best. Thank you for your time and being on Spark TV.
Thanks for having me.